was brief debate, but nothing of substance. Everybody was united around the idea that there has to be solidarity with Ukraine right now.
Certainly, it's interesting to look at the British position throughout this, which ultimately many Ukrainians, not least President Zelensky, have been very grateful for the United Kingdom's help as early as January, sending out anti-tank weaponry, defensive weaponry, and help in that way to Ukraine. Although it does strike me that there is a bit of a gulf here between Zelensky and really the whole of NATO. When Zelensky said in his address, please make sure that our Ukrainian skies are safe, that in terms is calling for a no-fly zone, something that no Western leader will contemplate. No Western leader will contemplate NATO troops shooting down Russian planes. That means war between NATO and Russia, something that wouldn't be countenanced.
Yeah, it's a key thing, isn't it? And I just wonder, I wonder if many of our viewers and listeners wonder too, whether if the weeks roll on and there's no decisive military advantage gained by either side, I just wonder whether the drumbeat for a no-fly zone will grow stronger and stronger. We had a former senior general yesterday say there may be the need for it. Are there any backbenchers articulating that position right now?
There have been backbenchers articulate this position, not least David Davis 2 weeks ago at the start of this conflict, saying that a no-fly zone should be considered. Equally, Tobias Ellwood, the chair of the Defence Select Committee, has said words to that effect as well. However, it has to be said that throughout this process, throughout the 2 weeks now of war in Ukraine, the watchword has been unity amongst the West, and any NATO member state going sort of off script, if you will, would be damaging to the united front that has been presented. Ultimately, I think it's incredibly unlikely that a no-fly zone would be countenanced for the simple fact that Russia and NATO, a war like that, with Putin acting as erratically as he is, that could risk nuclear conflict. And that's something that no Western leader could countenance. But going back to Zelensky's speech, it was really quite powerful and evocative. You mentioned he evoked both Churchill and Shakespeare. He evoked to be or not to be, saying that Ukraine has decided to be. This is something that has gone back, the ties between Ukraine and the United Kingdom, since 2015, when British armed forces actually went out to Ukraine and started training Ukrainian troops as their army was professionalising. Boris Johnson, when he was Foreign Secretary in 2017, 2018, actually met Zelensky as well. The ties between Ukraine and Great Britain and the United Kingdom, I should say, over the last 6 or 7 years have grown incredibly strong. So this moment, this historic moment, when Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the House of Commons in a way that no other foreign leader has ever done before, no other non-MP has ever done, apart from to apologise, this House of Commons chamber, it's really quite seismic, and we shouldn't do down this moment.
No, and nor do we seek to